While tourists are exploring local attractions, on the lower decks, preparations for the main task of the day are underway: cooking dinner for 6,000 passengers before they get back on board. And for this, you first need to bring up several tons of products from the storage area to the galley. Usually, the entire selection of products for the cruise is loaded onto the ship at the port of departure. The liner can only take water on it interim stops, and even then, only bottled water. They are very afraid of the possibility of food poisoning here. Since thousands of people live compactly on the ship, a simple case of E. coli can turn into a real epidemic in the span of just a few hours. And even putting that aside, not all countries can provide products of the high quality that symphony chefs require. All the refrigerators and storage boxes here open automatically with the press of a button. But there is one door whose button is behind a lock. Thankfully, I have the magic key. You've probably already guessed what's behind this door. Here it is, the holiest of holy of Symphony of the Sea's storage area. Here are several thousand bottles of elite red wine. Milk, meat, seafood, vegetables, frozen products, fish, all of that and more is stored in the dozens of other refrigerators. Anything and everything that might be needed to prepare the 350 different dishes that can be found on the ship's restaurant menus. Of all the foodstuffs stored on the ship, only 2 products are honored with having their own private refrigerators. Well, simply because they are the most consumed items. First, we've got bananas. Here are plenty of boxes with yellow ones, and there are also boxes with green ones. They will finish ripening during the cruise. And the second product is the most popular. What do you think it is? I'll show you now. Eggs. 120,000 eggs are eaten on board every week. Moreover, bananas and eggs are, as economists and logisticians say, goods of inelastic demand. Their consumption rate, and hence the required planned amount, is easy to predict. Things are more interesting when it comes to the rest of the products on board. A specially developed computer program analyzes the number of passengers and their nationalities even before setting sail, and depending on that information, it gives recommendations on how many of this or that product you need to take with you on any given voyage. For example, if there is a large number of Latin Americans on board, more meat and spicy foods will be added to the menu. If there are more Asians, they'll reduce the amount of dairy products, and if Indians are prevalent, they will increase the number of curry dishes, but at the same time they will bring less beef. One of the main delicacies of any haute cuisine is of course the Atlantic lobster. Here he is, such a handsome guy. This dish, by the way, is not cheap, therefore it is very rare. And even here it's cooked, well, not all that often. It's a one-of-a-kind item, one might say, made 6,000 times every day. Each of these workers, there are mostly Filipinos working here, shells about 500 lobsters a day. Those of you who have ever shelled, for example, crayfish, can imagine how much work this entails. On just 3 decks, more than 1,000 people are employed in this huge floating kitchen, 250 of whom are professional restaurant chefs. They fry, boil, flambe, sauté, and whip around the clock and in shifts. Take breakfast rolls, for example. 12,000 of them are baked here every day. In fact, the responsibility of the cooks here is enormous. The clients on the ship are very demanding, the products are expensive, and the cooking portions are gargantuan. Therefore, the slightest mistake in the proportions of ingredients can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Well, for example, tomato soup, 160 liters of it. If it's a little bit overcooked or undersalted, that's it. Eat it yourself since no one else will. Seating and serving several thousand people in the liner's restaurants at the same time is a separate logistical task, and they strive to make it so that customers don't have to wait more than 15 minutes for an order. Several hundred waiters of 50 nationalities cope with this task, each of whom must speak at least 3 languages. And bartenders should know at least 5.